Hello, my name is Philipp and today we'll compile RNode from source. RNode is the client software for the RChain network written by Pyrofex and is quite the entry point to the RChain network. So basically there are multiple ways how you can set up RNode. There's the way that you can use the Docker image provided by Pyrofex and set up and run RNode via Docker, or you can use the binaries. There are Debian packages and the tarball provided by Pyrofex, and then obviously the third way you can compile from source, and that's what we'll do today here. So I've set up totally fresh brand new AWS instance with Ubuntu 16 on it, and this is where I will compile RNode on. And the first thing I'll make sure is that the package lists are up to date and that all packages are upgraded. So let's do that first. With sudo apt-get update, we'll update all packages lists, and then an upgrade will upgrade all packages. Normally just make sure that you know which kind of packages will be upgraded, but for simplicity reasons I'll just go with upgrading them all. So that takes a few seconds, and then we'll obviously need to clone the repository, and the repository is on GitHub on the RChain project is the name, and then the repository is RChain, and we'll use obviously git for it. With git clone we'll clone the repository, and yeah, let's take a brief look into this project. Change directory to RChain. And yeah, so in this project folder we can see a bunch of subdirectories, and each of this folder denotes a subproject in RChain, and you can basically say that each of these subprojects are you can use those libraries in your project as standalone. And what we'll do later is we'll compile each of those subprojects and then assemble our node, which is kind of bringing all those components together. And before we do this, we obviously need to install some dependencies, and all instructions I'll be using. You can see all those instructions here on the left. So the next step is that we install the dependencies. And all instructions can be found in the README, as well as the more sophisticated steps for compiling from source are in the developer.md file. Yeah, so let's make sure that we have all dependencies for this Scala written project. We obviously need the Java development kit on our system, so I'll make sure that I have that installed. It is recommended to use Java 8, and that's what I will take now. As far as I know, there are already newer versions, but just wanted to make sure and stick to the recommended version. As far as I know, also there's the plan to upgrade and make it compatible with all the new versions. So that's done. Next is we need SBT, the Scala build tool, and first we'll add this key to our key list, and then we'll use apt again to install, and we need to update the package list obviously first, and then we'll install the sbt as well as jflex and haskell-platform. Jflex is also needed for Rholang, as we can see here. For the Rholang project, we also will need to install bnfc. This too is needed in order to at least to build the parser and the lexer to generate them, and we need a specific version of it, so we'll also do building this bnfc tool in a few seconds. But we also need Haskell stack, and for this I'll use the build script from haskellstack.org. And then, as I said before, for this Rholang project, so let's show just briefly. Rholang is one of those subprojects, and it has a README file, as most of those subprojects, and in there you can see all those steps that are required. And as it says here, we need to have SBT, we need jflex, and then bnfc, and this specific version. So interestingly, it says here that we need this version, although that might have changed, but I'll stick to the one I've got here in my documentation. It might be that they've changed lately, but that's what worked previously for me, so I'll stick to that. Alrighty, so we've installed all those dependencies, and then what you will do normally is you want to build all those subprojects, and for most of them it'll do a simple sbt compile, and then it will compile all those subprojects. But for Rholang as well as for Rosette, there's some additional steps needed. Let's make sure that for bnfc we've this specific bnfc installed, and then we can move on. So that's what we will do next. We'll clone this repository. Alright, and then we move the head to this specific commit. Whoopsie, that didn't work out. That is it. Alright, and then it's we'll use stack for installation, and we'll do stack init, stack setup, and stack install. And usually that takes a while, so I will stop the video here and then continue once that's done. Alright, see you in a few seconds again. So awesome, I see you're still there, and bnfc has been compiled. And let's just make sure that the path variable is set correctly, so it has to be in the .local bin, and that's for me the case. And if it's not the case for you, you have to set your path variable accordingly. And yeah, so A2 installed, so we can move on. So let's move back to our chain. All right. So now we want to compile RNode since we've installed all those dependencies. And it's just a matter of, you can compile each subproject with sbd subprojectName /compile, or you can basically compile the whole project by sbd compile. Although, as I said once before, there is some additional steps needed for Rholang as well as for Rosette, and you can find what's needed to build it for each subproject in the folder. There's a README file, and for this Rholang project you need to generate the lexer and the parser first, and you'll do that with sbt Rholang /bnfc generate. And let's do that, and this will also take some time, so I'll be back in a few seconds. Cool, so here we are again. bnfc generated successful. So as I said before, and I will show you here once, compiling a subproject is just a matter of sbd Rholang /compile, and you can assemble this Rholang CLI with sbd Rholang CLI assembly, and that's what we'll do next. And also, this also might take a few seconds, so I'll fast forward for you. Awesome, so that's done, and then there is sbd assembly. Okay, so we are fine now with Rholang. Let's take a look for the other project where some additional steps are needed, and that's the Rosette project. And Rosette is needed in this compile path from Rholang code to binary code that is executed. There is one step in between where this Rholang is compiled through RBL, and this concurrent VM Rosette from the mid-80s, I guess, is used, and we'll need to compile Rosette, and yeah, so there's some dependencies needed again, and I'll install them again with apt-get install. Most of them are very essential: G++, make, CMake, Rholang. And then in this readme.txt, which is in here. They're all instructions for compiling Rosette. And it says that we also need the C++ Google Protobus libraries. And we'll compile them from source also. So we'll clone the repository once more with git clone. Oops. Here we go. And then we'll update these submodules. And some more dependencies for this project. Again, with apt-get, we'll install them. And then we can call the auto-generate script. And after that, we'll do the configure. Perfect. And then next will be make check and sudo make install. And again, this might take a few minutes, so I'll do that and then see you once that's done. So see you in a few seconds for you. So after make check sudo make install, we can now do sudo ld config, and then we're ready to go back to our RChain project, go into the Rosette folder, and then we can do the build process for Rosette by calling the build script. And all right, so that was successful. We also can, it generated a package, the Rosette package. You can also use that. All right, so we are ready to start the compile project for a process for the whole project, and we'll do that with sbd compile. And yeah, this will compile all those subprojects. And afterwards, we will need to create an executable. Usually that is done by you could use sbd node / assembly, and that would normally give you a jar file which you can then execute with Java. But as currently, at least a week ago, that didn't work out since there were merge conflicts during the assemble process. I'll use sbd node universal stage instead, and this will give us a binary which we can execute. And then we should be ready, and we can use then Rholang, RNode, as well as Rholang. Yeah, so this, yeah, perfect. It's now finished. compilation successful, and then we can now create the executable, as I've said, with apt-node universal stage. And then we can, once that is done, we can move into the folder where the executable is now created, and then yeah, let's check that everything worked out. So, didn't take that much time as expected. So we are ready. We can now take a look. The executable has been created in node target, and then there should be universal stage, and then bin, and in there's the RNode binary. Let's make sure that everything is as expected. Perfect. So you see RNode RJNode 071 has been created, and yeah, you also could use you also can run RNode with Java, and then you have to set the class path to the lib folder here. So you can, yeah, you can also do that, but yeah, so that's it. Hopefully you can now compile RNode from source, and if you would like to know how to operate on your node, or what kind of functionality RNode provides and how the commands for this look like, there's another video. Find and take a look in the description below those videos. And if you'd like, you can leave a thumbs up. Bye bye.